Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for everyone for joining today. I see a lot of people coming in. If you don't mind, just for while we're letting everybody in, if you don't mind putting in the chat where you're from, I would definitely love to see exactly where you guys are from. If you could put that in the chat, that'll be awesome. Just whatever state you're from. It could be Georgia, Atlanta, wherever you're calling in from. I'd definitely love to see that. We're going to be getting started here in a second with the webinar. Good to see everybody joining. Georgia. And guys, we're going to be talking today about identifying theft is no joke. How having identifying theft coverage for you and your employees can protect your credit and save your business. We have a special guest today, Sydney Marvin, that is going to be talking about what you should do to protect your personal credit, as well as be able to offer to your employees some services that we do here at Vector Choice as a sort of a part of the benefit package there to offer that. Louisiana, Kevin, good to see you there. Robert, Georgia, good to see you guys. All righty, so we're gonna get started here in a second. We were just having a few technical difficulties to getting Sydney on. Sydney, are you there yet? Sydney, I believe you're still on mute there. Want to make sure you are there before we actually officially get started.
Hey, Will.
There we go. There we go. Good job. Appreciate it. All right. Well, let's go and get started, guys. Good to see everyone. Today we're going to be talking about how having identity theft coverage for you and your employees can protect your credit and save your business. A lot of times you guys hear me talk about cybersecurity and just strictly from a technology standpoint, but I wanted to have a special guest on today to actually talk about the credit card and the credit information and your business credit and how to protect that. Because, unfortunately, that is part of still cybersecurity as well, regardless if it's technology based or not. So today, my name is Will Nobles. I'm the founder and CEO of Vector Choice, and Sydney Marvin's here from IDShield. Cindy, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you for having me, Will. Appreciate it.
No problem. No problem. Well, look, guys, I want to talk a little bit about Vector Choice, and I'm going to just turn it over to Sydney, and we'll talk a little bit about what she has going on and where to protect yourself from a credit standpoint. So who is Vector Choice, you might be asking? So Vector Choice, we're a IT outsourced managed services and cybersecurity services company. We have locations all across the United States. But some of the things that we have done, it takes my team, not just me, to do this, but we've made the Inc. 5000 the past 3 years. We've made the MSP 501 the past 2 years, meaning that we're the top 501 MSPs in the world, growing the business and providing those services to our clients. Just in 2021 alone, we got Inc. 5000, MSP 501, and the best and brightest companies to work for in Atlanta. So what do we do? What does Vector Choice do? We're a managed IT services company where we do outsourced IT services for medium and small businesses. We focus on healthcare, law firms, and manufacturing specifically. We do cybersecurity all the way from our current clients to where we can go in and actually do a security assessment or evaluation for you if you get compromised, and help you recover your data if you actually get hit with a ransomware attack. We do CTO services where we actually are part of your management team, where we can come in and actually provide guidance to you from a budgetary standpoint from when it comes to your technology, and a host of other different things, from compliancy consulting to Office 365, dark web monitoring. So let us know if you need any of that help, and we'll be glad to help you with that. Vector Choice, we have 7 offices officially serving clients in 23 states. Our newest office is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I acquired a IT firm up in Bristol, right outside of Philadelphia, that we actually have the Philadelphia office now. And I hope some of my Philly clients are on this call. Good to have you. If so, we have done work internationally from Costa Rica, the UK, Netherlands, Dominican Republic, and we do a lot of compliancy work from HIPAA to CMMC to GDPR, PCI, ITAR compliancy. We can definitely help you there. So I'm going to stop sharing real fast. I'm going to let Sydney bring up her PowerPoint. And Sydney, thank you for coming on today. And I'm ready for you to educate the audience here on what they should be doing when it comes to protecting their credit and some of the things that you offer that they can put in place.
Sure. I am going to see how good I am with technology here, and we'll go from there. How's that?
That works.
Can you see this?
Yes, I can.
And I'm just going to make sure that the slide will change. That's usually my problem, and that's not happening. So,
and guys, while she's working on that, if you have any questions, put in the Q&A section there, and we will answer those questions as we go for you, and we'll get those knocked out as she's talking here.
Okay, well, give me a second. This is usually my problem. And I cannot figure out how to, you can see the screen. Push play, maybe that'll get us where I want to go. Okay, yes. Okay, I'm excited. Anytime I can do technology, I can help protect it, but I am not good at doing it. That's why I need Will's help here. So, and can you guys see the whole screen?
We can.
Okay, excellent. So identity theft has been one of the top consumer complaints over the last 15 years. I don't think I have to convince anybody of that. Just everything going on in Eastern Europe, you hear now, and something that we need to pay real good attention to, and I'm sure will agree, is the Russians say they're gonna, they're rumors, who knows what we hear on television is true or not, but they're gonna be hacking. They and the Chinese, right? Going to be hacking not only for businesses, governmental entities, but also our personal identity and our personal computers are up to possibly being hacked. We need to be very diligent. We always needed to be, but now it's become even more of an epidemic. And I know Will has seen that because he sees a lot more things than we just hear about on TV. It goes very, very deep and very, very wide. And victims are often spending an exorbitant amount of time and money dealing with it. And just the ransomware alone that I know Will deals with is extremely expensive. And breaches happen very often, and they happen, like I said, a lot more than we know. Also from a personal standpoint, not only from the ransomware with businesses, and I'm going to be concentrating more from the personal standpoint, as Will said, but how that actually affects your business. So what you don't know about identity theft can really mess up your day. So what actually is identity theft? We always hear stuff on the news, and this is what we think about. We think about financial, right? Identity theft, the fraudulent acquisition and use of a person's private identifying information, usually for financial gain. And that's what we think about. We think about people getting our credit cards, getting loans, buying homes, buying cars, that kind of thing. But that's a very narrow point of identity theft. Actually, financial is only 17% of identity theft. And it is the portion of identity theft that is most easily handled because by our governmental standards, if we get money stolen out of our bank, they have to give it back. If we get fraudulent credit card charges, we're protected. People freeze their credit, do all these things for financial safety and think they're safe, but they really aren't, because that's, like I said, a very small percentage of actual identity theft. It takes many forms. And what part should you be concerned about? Where there's criminal, using your stolen ID as personal identification, perhaps for an arrest. Somebody gets a DUI in California, you live in Georgia, right? And then you don't know, but they go to jail and they bail out and they don't show up for court, and there's a bench warrant for your arrest. say you're a professional CPA or lawyer, and you go driving down the street, you get stopped for going through a stop sign, and they want to arrest you because there's a bench warrant for you in California, but you didn't know about this. What are you going to do, right? And that's a big problem. Social Security. Well, filing taxes now. I had one yesterday. Somebody filed taxes in this person's name already. You know, what can you do about that? Also, employment identity theft. So they don't pay employment taxes in your name. And about 2 years later, you get a large bill from the IRS. That's huge. Medical identity theft is growing bigger and bigger, where somebody gets your medical ID and then they go get services. They go to the hospital. They could get liposuction. They could get a facelift. They could have congestive heart failure. And all of a sudden you get the bills. And then you can go to debt collectors and it's not you. And with HIPAA laws, all of a sudden your whole medical ID has changed and you might not get the treatment that you need or the wrong type blood. This could be very, very dangerous. And you need somebody to help with that. Financial, we kind of talked about that. We all know credit cards, bank accounts, those types of things, buying homes in your name, cars in your name. Synthetic, that's where using multiple victims' IDs or information to create another whole identity. And that can get very, very confusing. But the biggest problem is indifference. I mean, I had a brewery owner tell me yesterday that, well, there's nothing very personal on their computers, you know, that they really, nobody can take. And also they've got the cloud, all their stuff's in the cloud. Well, I'll talk a little bit about that later, but that's not safe either. So people really don't think it can happen to them. But I think between Will and I, we could spend a whole hour just telling stories of, you won't believe this. It can really happen. So if it does happen, and here's where people don't understand what can really occur. Here's where the indifference comes in, and I want to make you aware. Securing loans. Now, how can that affect not only personally, but we're concentrating some on the business owner here and why they need to be protected personally, because business owners' credit, their personal credit, is used for their business. Let's say you've got a heating and air company and they want to buy a new truck, and all of a sudden they go to buy one and they find out their credit's bad. Somebody's gotten loans in their name they didn't know about. They can't buy that truck. A contractor needs a loan because they got this huge job and they need to buy supplies that they can't afford with the cash flow right now, and they want to get a loan. Or all of a sudden you found this great house to buy, you're going to sell yours, buy a new one, and you find out then. That's not the time you want to find out, because that becomes a big, big problem. Or like somebody gets your medical ID, like I was talking about, and didn't pay the bills. You don't know about it because the bill went to another address, and all of a sudden now debt collectors are coming after you because they got your name, your phone number, right? Even though the address may be wrong. Possible arrests for crimes committed by the identity theft, like identity thief, like I said, you know, just going through a red light, not stopping at a stop sign. You know, if you're a lawyer, a dentist, a CPA, somebody that's got a professional license, and it's about the time you get that license renewed and they do a background check and you've got criminal things on you, or you've got bad credit or things going on, you can't get that license renewed. You're going to have to stop practice. Or worst, I had my own dermatologist, the GBI came to her office to shut her down because somebody had Medicare fraud in her name using her license. If that, you're shut down. It can destroy a business very quickly, just like having ransomware on a business can shut them down for a couple of weeks at least. Red flags on background checks. You're going to get a new job. This is from a personal standpoint. And they do a background check. I had somebody call me yesterday about that. How do I fix it? You know, they're going to find this crazy thing on my background. Now go from the employee standpoint. If you're a business owner and your employees have trouble focusing at work, just think of all the things I just talked about. And that's just the very little bit of the surface, right? So they can't focus on work, or they take off work. They call in sick, not really sick. but they got to deal with this. And if you've just had one customer service issue because you were overcharged for something, or a warranty issue, or you're trying to get something straight, think of all the phone calls it takes just for something that little, and how frustrating and stressed out we are hanging on the phone for so long. Think about this. It can, like I said at the beginning, it can absolutely destroy you being able to run your business, being able to work. And so that's how the impact of your personal identity can have on your business, have on your employees on your business, and have on someone personally. So I want to review these again. It costs you a lot of money, time, damage credit. Now look, the damage credit's huge, not only for securing loans, but guess what? What if it's about the time you bought a new car? You got the car and now you're changing insurances, or you're just changing insurances because you had Travelers and you found out Progressive is better. And all of a sudden it's so expensive because your credit's gone down and you didn't know about it because somebody hacked you because you weren't paying attention. Your credit affects a lot of things you do. Insurance and loans are two that are really big. It damages your good name for trying to get new jobs. It makes it difficult to get a new job. And it, like I said, can stop you from practicing your profession. Now, how does all that stuff get out there? Well, a lot of ways, but there are data brokers out there that take all that information and sell it to people. Now that's very obvious, because think about anytime you get a promotion in the mail. Well, how did they know I was thinking about, I was buying a house? How did they know I wanted to refinance? When I was about to turn Medicare age, right? 2 years earlier, I was getting phone calls about Medicare. How did they know what my age was? I got a call yesterday that said, we hear you want to sell your timeshare. How did they know I even have a timeshare? I never applied for that. The other real scary thing is when I went to the doctor for some just checkups, the orthopedist and the general practitioner, you know how you used to go to the doctor, you had to write down all the drugs you might be taking or vitamins. It was all downloaded onto their resources already. And they go, what are you taking this drug for? I thought, I took that for a sinus infection like 2 years ago. That comes from aggregating of data from my pharmacy. They have a system that goes to another system, that goes to the doctor's system, that goes to the doctor's computer. You know how many places it can be breached in between, and how much data is collected by the medical profession on us? And the medical profession has everything. And all these data brokers collect that. They collect everything that we go on the internet searching, comes up on Facebook. Guess another thing you hadn't thought about, every time you click OK to anything, somebody's aggregating that data, right? And that's where they get all that information.
Yeah, Cindy, it reminds me of one thing when you were saying that. It took me back to my teenage years when I would get a speeding ticket, and all of a sudden, all the attorneys would start mailing the house, sending mail to the house about representing me in my case. And of course, that's when my parents found out that I got a ticket. So it's funny that you said it took me right back to age 17. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. I mean, just setting up my own copier. You guys, how many times did I have to click accept, accept, accept just to set up my copier? And we want to get it done. So we're like, screw it, click, click, click. And we're passively giving away all this information that they get it, but their systems can be breached by third-party software that they use.
Yep.
So understand, and then there's a lot of products out there. When we go to buy cars, even mattresses, we want to get educated, right? I mean, there's salespeople out there. We hope we're dealing with high professionals, but we want to balance everything. So you need to educate yourself, but let's look at the different products that we are offered and the differences. Okay. Those products provided us at no cost to individuals due to a company's breach. Well, when Home Depot got breached, Emory got breached, the state of South Carolina, their state tax place got breached. They provided free identity theft monitoring.
Yep. Well,
that's fine and good. They monitor something. And that's like saying, well, you have a home alarm that goes off when the smoke starts, and the fire department lets you know you're having a fire and just tells you need to put it out. That's about that, right?
And I think that, and this sort of leads into dark web, stuff as well. As a lot of people, when I show clients that, hey, your password's on the dark web, their mind immediately says, I've been compromised. My company has been compromised. And a lot of cases, it's not your company that's been compromised. It could be a third party that you use the same password to LinkedIn or to Target or to your Amex card that got compromised. And so that goes into a whole nother conversation about having different passwords for different logins, having a password manager. I mean, that's a whole nother area that we could go into, but it's the same concept, right? That you can get compromised in one place because something got hacked that you have no control over, which ultimately ends up with your credit information out there exposed for people to mess up your credit.
No, absolutely. So that's one kind of thing. Not bad, but it's like, I don't know, being half covered up, getting out of the shower and thinking you're good. I don't know. It's like you're not totally protected, right?
Yeah.
So you got homeowners policies. People say, well, I got it on my homeowners. And then maybe they say, oh, it's an insurance policy. It gives you $25,000 if you're a victim of identity theft. But if you've ever read insurance policies, and we do know this about our medical insurance, well, I thought it was covered, but it's not in the fine print, right? Yep. So they don't help you do anything. It's kind of similar to the fire department just letting you know you're having a fire. Offered through a bank or credit card company. Well, that's very limited, and it's limited to that credit card or to that bank. And guess what? They're monitoring you anyway. So they're just making a big deal that you're getting it for free. Or if you're having even paying $10 a month, you're really getting ripped off, right? Because it's in their best interest to monitor those things. And we all get monitored. I mean, sure, all of us on here have replaced a credit card, or had an alert from our banks. And that's fine. It's not bad, but it doesn't really protect you. And then those are covered, purchased by an individual. Well, the ones most people know of is LifeLock. There's many, many, many other ones out there that are given to or offered by companies for identity theft coverage. And I will tell you that these other coverages aren't bad, but they're mostly monitoring. And we'll refer to the dark web, and we're going to talk about the monitoring, but you need all that monitored so you can mitigate some damages. And I'm going to talk about that. But what you really want is something that not only monitors, but takes care of that takes care of everything soup to nuts, and is broad-based, not just monitoring, but privacy management. So you have a kind of an umbrella, I call it now privacy management. One part underneath that umbrella, one spoke, is monitoring. The other part is social media, and I'm going to go over some. So you have different things under privacy management. We used to call it just identity theft coverage and monitoring, but you need a much broader umbrella of protection to mitigate your risk and then actually take care of it. Like the fire department comes and actually puts out the fire. You need everything under that umbrella, not just one spoke, which some of these other products are just a one spoke type product. So along those lines, you need to defend against to mitigate losses. You cannot prevent it. Look, large companies have people inside blocking infiltrations every day. That's all they do 24/7. And I'm sure Will can attest to that, right? It happens constantly. They're trying to hack. And then you need somebody to restore if you're a victim, because think of all the things that I mentioned that you have to take care of if you get hacked. So one of the products that most people don't know, we've been around for 17 years actually, is IDShield. These other products came along afterwards. It's kind of like there was Coca-Cola and then came Pepsi, or there was Kleenex and then came Scott Tissue, right? IDShield was really the one that started the industry, because we with IDShield, we also have legal services, and a company came to us back in the day, 17 years ago, and said 70% of identity theft needs legal action too, and we don't do that. Can you help us? And that's how we got started, but we're a standalone product. We offer Prepaid Legal Services, Inc. You'll see the logo down on the right there. This is one of their services. It's totally owned. It's a service. It's not an insurance coverage, where an insurance coverage, you pay and then you hope you're covered for all these things. This is a service. You pay us, we deliver the service with IDShield, with only private investigators. There's no customer service people here. So what does IDShield do? Well, we do monitor, like the other things I told you about. The other companies do monitor some more or less than others on the dark web. So you're looking, as Will said, on the dark web for, does your social security number go over there? Your date of birth, your driver's license, your passport, your address, your email, your personal persona online, your bank accounts, your credit cards, your medical ID, even your 401ks. We monitor everything, and we're going to alert you if it goes online. Now, we're going to alert you to some stuff that you may say, okay, we even monitor your mother's maiden name and your passwords. We may not know where the passwords go to, but we're going to monitor in case it comes onto the dark web. Now, again, it goes over the monitoring, and the coverage I'm talking about today, you have to have 3 bureau credit monitoring. If you just have one, that's being half covered up, because if somebody goes and you getting credit and getting a new car and they put it on one credit bureau and you didn't monitor that one, that's not good. We can't help you with that. So, but I wanted to let you know from this slide that we do have an app. So you have your credit score right there. And you know what? Sometimes your credit score can go down, not because identity theft, because you closed an account that had good history, or maybe you forgot to pay a bill. So knowing what your credit score is on an ongoing basis is good. Even if it doesn't happen to be identity theft related, maybe it'll just be a reminder that you forgot to pay a bill and you better get that fixed right away, right? We also monitor financial threshold account things. So you can put in all this information to our secure website. People often ask, well, can't your website be hacked? I mean, I guess the answer is, yeah, our website could be hacked. Any website, anything can be hacked these days, but you've got protection, and this is the best one. And in the 17 years, we haven't been touched, right? We do this full time, all the time. So remember, I talked about reputation and privacy management. What does that include? And all of this is included in the IDShield coverage. Reputation management. We look at every social media account that you give us. We look at the posts and we look at the pictures, and we give you a score. This is very important for business owners. They do a lot of social media things. And if there's things that somebody posted that you don't know about, because these hackers get in and do weird stuff on our Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, that kind of thing, you want to know about it because you want to get it taken down. And we show you on mine. It actually put up 3 pictures. One was a friend of mine and I were at a winery, and there was wine behind us. It came up alcohol. But even as an individual, if you have young adults at school, these type of things can really affect them getting jobs, because they don't know that they shouldn't put that on their social media. It'll come back to haunt them. So that's social media privacy. We also help you set up the privacy settings. Anti-bullying, we look for that. Voice assistance, we can help you choose, how to set up the privacy on your Alexa and Google. Data broker, we can help you take off some data brokers that you don't want getting your information. Your smart TV, whoever thought, but you know what? Your smart TV's connected to your internet. Got to fix those settings on there. Will mentioned password privacy. I'm going to show you, we do have a password manager, but also, as Will said, I mean, you could speak a whole hour just on passwords. The fact that we should have something unique and different, and that's very hard to do for every site we have to go to. But a password manager encrypts that, protects that, and so you can have different ones. And also browser privacy, how to set up on all your type of browser devices, what's, to protect that. So reputation management. With IDShield, we look at your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Twitter, your Instagram, and online footprint. When they did my online footprint, they found a document that's posted online from 10 years ago with my name on it. That was a member of a group I was still part of, but that document was old, and it's on the internet, and it gave me a way that I could delete that. So you want to know what's out there. I mean, have you ever Googled yourself? It's very interesting, but you want to know what's out there because that's where people look these days, and you want to manage your privacy. It can affect your business and it can affect you personally.
I encourage you, and Sydney, on that note, I encourage people to go out and Google yourself. Hopefully everything LinkedIn, maybe your company shows up at the top, but you'll be surprised some of the things that can show up that you were not expecting. So I would Google yourself. Don't think it as self-loathing, I guess, but Google yourself at least once a month to make sure that's another check that you can check for yourself.
So I think we've kind of talked about this, but how can this all affect a business and an owner's ability to conduct business? You've seen a lot of the things that I've talked about, but if you're having to fix all that and you're having to monitor and worry about it all, or worry about your employees, you can't focus on what you want to do, and it can affect your ability to grow your business. And it affects the employee's ability, if they get personally hacked, to perform at work. And that's not good either. So you need somebody to take care of it all for you. And that's what we do at IDShield with our private licensed investigators. When we call AT&T or we call the state because there's a situation, then they listen to us. And these private investigators know what to do and what to say. And all of a sudden they get to the top person. We also give you a $1 million identity fraud protection plan, just in case you're out any money for crazy, like having to fly somewhere or go somewhere, stay in a hotel because you have to testify in court, things of that nature. I haven't had anybody have to use this in 17 years, but we do provide it. And again, on our app, you can call and write to our ID support. So in addition to all the monitoring and all the restoration, we give antivirus. Like you have Norton, this is Trend Micro. They're very well known. They're a national company. We give you a VPN so that when you go to the hotels, cafes, everybody's traveling now that COVID's gone. And we get on that private Wi-Fi, right? Where you don't want to use up all the data on our phone by using our personal hotspots. But those public Wi-Fis are trolled by the criminals. And if they get in there and they get onto your computer and you're going to your bank account because you're staying in a hotel somewhere and you're trying to check your accounts, they can get all that information. So you want a wall of protection between that public Wi-Fi and your computer. And then we give you a password manager. These three things alone, and I think, Will, you can speak to that, would probably cost at least $50 more a month just on your own if you just paid for a password manager, just extra. So they are kind of costly.
Yep.
But they're included in the IDShield. And here's like what it looks like on an IDShield portal: the credit card and dark web monitoring, reputation management. You can check all those. You can sign up and add them to your computer from here. So we're here 24/7 for emergency situations. The police show up your door for identity theft and you want to pick up the phone and call. So I just listened to one of our private investigators the other day. A SWAT team showed up at one of our clients' doors because they had supposedly bought a $54,000 car that I think must have been used in a criminal offense. And they traced it back to our client who supposedly bought this car. What would you do? Think it won't happen to you? It can be happening. And when you first get IDShield and you see all the alerts come up, you're like, oh my God, I had no idea, because it'll send up an alert and you can click OK. Because yeah, I did buy that car, or I did get that loan for my house, or those type of things. Or you can call them right away. Or they just tell you about a breach. You said, I don't know that company. And I've called them and go, well, what did that have to do with anything? They explained to me, and then explained to me what it was and what things. And usually it's changing a password that I need to do to make sure I'm protected. And then of course we're available for consultations and regular stuff, through regular business hours through our mobile app as well.
Yeah. And for the business owners on this call, why I give it to my employees as a benefit, part of the benefits package at working here at Vector Choice, because I need to make sure their data staying clean as well. Because if they are known, they get on a some kind of crazy list, let's say a terrorist list, some random list, right? That could affect my company, especially with the types of clients I do business with, from a security standpoint. So that this is, you as the business owner do not see their credit information. It's something that my HR signs them up for. Sydney reaches out to them, gets them all set up with their in the system, shows them how to use it. And then, but you as the company don't have access to see this, but it's a benefit that you can give them, so they are getting those red flags as well. So it was a no-brainer for me to offer this as part of overall cybersecurity solution for my clients.
So thanks, Will. And yeah, I mean, I love helping people and making sure they're protected. So we do that for all companies. It doesn't matter what size or how many employees that you have. We do that. This is just an example of some alerts I got when I was moving. Now, moving is a big event. And let me tell you, I even have mortgage brokers that have this coverage. And one of my mortgage brokers, who uses very secure sites, obviously, got hacked when he was buying some investment real estate. So it happens, you guys. But it came up with some things that were detected that I needed to know about. And this is kind of what it looked like, right? And here's another one. When I moved twice during COVID, to a temporary place and then to my new place, and it let me know that my address changed, because people can hack and change your address online or at the post office. So you need to review that, and you need to know these things are going on. So that's just kind of an example of the alerts and what it looks like. And you can look at them on your phone, or you can also do it via email. So who's covered under the IDShield plan? The individual member for just one person, and for a family plan, the member spouse or domestic partner, up to 10 dependent children. And God help somebody if they have 10 dependent children under the age of 18. That's a lot going on. They certainly need all the coverage they can get, right?
Yes.
Now, if they're 18 to 26, they may, as long as they're still living in the home or away at school, we still give them a consultation, and we will restore their identity. But we don't do all that monitoring that I told you about, because at 18, they have their own credit. They really need their own coverage. So I'm going to tell you the prices. One, there's no contract. So you're not locked into anything. It's month-to-month payment. And here's the pricing for an individual, and it goes down about $3 to $4 if it's an employee benefit. So an individual is $19.95 a month, and a family plan is $34.95 a month. And that includes the whole gamut of privacy management with your VPN, your password, your antivirus, all the monitoring, all the phone calls you want to make to the identity theft specialist, and full restoration. So those are the things, and there. And I want to end real quick, and then Will, I'm sure you'll have something to say. But the two most helpful hints that I can give you to help prevent identity theft, being a victim: never, never, never use your ATM card except for at your bank, and as minimally as possible there. I was at Nordstrom's the other day buying shoes, and I saw this lady put in her Bank America ATM card and punch in her password. I looked at her, I said, "Is that your ATM card?" Knowing full well it was. She said, "Yes." I said, "Don't do that. You understand that somebody that gets that password," I saw her type it in, and and if I was a thief, could get her card, right? Hacking something or having one of those slip things that they get it. If you can't lose all the money in your bank account today and wait a month to get it back, I suggest you never use that card again. And she and the sales consultant were like, "Oh my God, thank you so much." People use them at the gas pumps. They use them at the grocery store. Oh my God, I've had people use it online to pay for stuff. My one of my clients lost $11,000 out of his bank account from accidentally going to a bad website that looked like a Walgreens site. You can get on bad web. We all accidentally do it, right?
Yep.
You can do it. If you're using your ATM card, you're screwed. The other thing is, don't rely on your information being stored in the cloud to provide security for your information. Will, you can probably talk better to that than I can, but it just because it's in the cloud, it's connected to your internet. It's not a protection. That's why Will exists, because they want to have it downloaded somewhere else in case you get ransomware in your business, right? It's good to have it in the cloud. If your computer screws up, it's in the cloud. Yep. It's not if your computer's hacked, it's in the cloud to protect you. Those two don't go together. And I think that's a big mistake that a lot of business owners make. Well, I've got it in the cloud. Mm-mm.
Yeah, and that's a lot of things, especially like, and I hate to pick on Microsoft here, but I'm using Google Suites, and Google's the same way. But Microsoft does have a policy that they store up to a period of time of data. But if your computer gets hacked and gets ransomware, that ransomware will carry over to your Microsoft cloud as well. And so if you're not backing up your cloud, that data is compromised just as much as your laptop's compromised. So make sure, just because something's in the cloud does not mean it's backed up. Make sure you're talking to an expert that will tell you what needs to be backed up, what kind of frequency. If something happened, I mean, your IT professional should be having the conversation with you is, how long can you afford to be down? Because there's different types of backups. And so the question is, how long can you afford to be down? Because backup A might take an IT professional 4 days to actually get you fully back up. But backup D might take you 30 minutes to get back up. So it's all about, how fast you need to be back up, and how much you're willing to spend on backups based on how much are you willing, the tolerance you're willing to be down.
Yeah, so that's really all I have. There's my contact information. I know Will had it on the invitation. You're welcome to call me. And I know we also put on that, if you've got any questions, please call me. I'm available in the day, in the evenings. And I know, because you guys as business owners or just individuals took your time to learn today, I so applaud you. It's so important that if you decide to get the identity theft for yourself or your family in the next week, and you call me, I will actually reimburse you for the first month as a thank you for taking your hour of your time today to jump on Will's webinar. He does an awesome job. I love his tips. I post on LinkedIn some, and I grab Will's tips because they're what I would have said anyway, but Will says it better. And then tag him in those, and use it a lot on my LinkedIn to share his information, because they're things that we should be paying attention to. And I know with everything going on, it's hard. So let us at IDShield take care of it for you, and let Will take care of your business for you. And then you can go about doing what you love to do, and that is growing your business. So thanks so much. And Will, I'll stop my share screen, or you can. And
yeah, and Sydney's information's here. I would definitely reach out to her. Like she's saying, if you're a business, you could cover that for just your business. You could cover it for your employees. Or if you're an individual on this call and you just want if your company won't cover this type of service for you, you can get this individually as well, directly from her. And so you've got Sydney's information. I wanted to just share my information for ones that don't have it. So here, if you have any questions for me, here's my phone number, email address. Just send me an email if you have any questions that you even want to ask about how Vector Choice uses Sydney and IDShield service. I'll be glad to answer that for you as well. I want to thank everybody for coming on today. I do actually, Sydney, we do have a question here about missed that. Hi, if you're Kevin asks, hi, if you're using ATM cards, do you hit credit button, or do you not have so you don't have to use your PIN? And so I think Sydney, the question is, if you do have to use ATM card, do you just hit the credit so you don't have to enter the PIN in? I would say yes, that's what I do. So it runs it as a credit card if I am using my ATM. But Sydney, I'm assuming that's the correct statement there.
That is correct, but I would still not use it.
Exactly.
Here's the either way, they can steal your, you know how many times you have to change your credit card because somebody's taken it? But if it's a regular credit card and not an ATM, it's not money out of your pocket. If
Yep.
you're using your ATM debit card as a credit card, here's still the biggest problem. It comes out of your bank account.
Yep.
If somebody uses my American Express to charge something at Walmart, I don't lose that money. But if I use my ATM credit card, it comes out of my bank account and I still got to wait for that money back.
Yep.
So you shouldn't use it regardless. But if you're going to use it, at least use it as a credit card, but you're still running the risk.
The risk. Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, and I encourage you guys, we're not encouraging to have credit card debt. If you're going to use your credit card, make sure you pay it off every single month, you know, as you use, or maybe get in the habit to pay it weekly. You know, you run it, whatever you run that week, go and transfer and pay that credit card off weekly. It will keep your credit good, and you're not building up debt. So just I wanted to be clear about credit cards there and everything. So, well, Cindy, thank you so much for being on. Thanks for everybody to joining today. And we look forward to seeing you guys in the future. Have a good one.
Much. Bye. Thanks, Will.